Hi, Dr. Gimmer here. As promised on an earlier video, I'm going to be telling you about some patients who have gotten better from, and in many instances have gotten completely over, some serious health problems, some serious disease processes. Now, when you hear these, you're going to say, hey, wait, you can't cure those things. And if that's what you think, you are 100% correct. But let me show you who can cure these things. You see, we're all going through life, millions of us, day after day, and we don't have migraines and numbness and chemical sensitivities and skin rash and fatigue and dizziness. We don't have seizures, tremors, asthma, colitis. We haven't had a stroke. We don't have heart disease. We don't have diabetes. And why don't we have them? Because there are factors built into all of us to keep us healthy. But one day, someone going along this route has something go wrong, something changes, and boom, they have colitis or they have migraine. Something changes like that, you see. Now, what I've become expert at is finding out what changed and changing it back again. And that's how they get over these things. Now, is this the norm in America? Hardly. Do you know we spend $300 billion covering up symptoms and warning signs so that we don't know that we have what we have? Not a good idea, really. In America, we only have 5% of the world's population, but we consume 70% of the world's drugs. Did you know in America, based on that right there, we take 42 times as many drugs on average as the other people of the world? 42 times. And how's that working out for us? Well, let's look. In America, the World Health Organization says that we are 37th in overall health, which is the lowest of all the modern nations. Or how about life expectancy? You think with all of this, we should have 5 times as good a health as everybody else. Well, we have the same life expectancy as those in Cuba, which is hardly the pinnacle of modern society, if you know what I mean. And so it's not good. Now, why does this happen? Think about it from another standpoint here. Let's say that you are traveling by car to somewhere and you realize you're lost. Now, is the best approach here to put on blindfolds? No. How about take a few more wrong turns? How about go twice as fast in the wrong direction? You see, that's what's been happening, but it's the opposite of what I do. What I do is I find out what changed in a person and change it back. Fair enough there? With all that said there, let me tell you about just a few people that have come in to see us here. We had a gentleman, for instance, he used to be able to bench press twice his weight. He instead, after an accident, had gotten down so he could barely lift a foot off the ground this far. Could barely lift his leg off the ground. Now, we found out what was causing this, changed it back, and he just got his strength all back. Another gentleman in his mid-80s had this beautiful wood boat he had been babying along for years, and he had put it up for sale because he literally didn't have enough stamina to walk down the dock to the boat. And after we got him fixed, he went out walking. He said, I walked half a mile, could have kept going. He had no signs of tiring at all. And that's how this thing changes. We had a lady with fibromyalgia after a bad accident. Her arms burned so bad with this fibromyalgia, she would actually put them in ice water every 20 minutes to chill them down so she could make it through the day. Changed her, what was causing this, and she got over it. We had another lady had suicidal thoughts all her life, as far as she could remember back into her maybe 12 or 14 years old. She always had these suicidal thoughts. She never followed through on them, but she always kept thinking about suicide. We corrected the cause of her problems and it completely left. We have people come in with hormone imbalances and they've had lab tests and everything are high on this and low on that. And we correct the cause of this problem and they normalize. Another really common thing we have is people with pains in their head, not just headaches. We have headaches, but pains in their heads. And it's just like, pain in my head. And some of them are mentally dull. They're just dazed and confused feeling. And after we change this, they get the clarity back again. It's an amazing thing there. We had a couple of people, 3 people, that I can think of right off the top, that had cancer treatment. Now, they might have gotten over the cancer, but what was left from the cancer treatment was, to them, almost worse. One gentleman, when he first came in, He was on a walker. He had this gray look. He looked gray, just dirty gray. He was really sick. It took him literally 8 or 10 minutes to get out of the car, which was parked right at the bottom of our wheelchair ramp, to get into our office. 8 or 10 minutes. What you or I could probably do in 10 or 15 seconds, okay? And when he got in here, he was so bad. It was just horrible. Anyhow, we started correcting the causes of what had gone wrong on him since his chemotherapy and radiation treatment. The next day, he came in carrying his walker over his shoulder. His color was back. He was walking along at a normal speed. You would have never guessed anything was wrong. We had a gentleman, now this particular guy I'm going to tell you about now, I've known him for years, and he used to go out in the woods whenever he wanted to, and he'd take a chainsaw, cut down a couple trees, cut them into wood stove lengths, the pieces of the logs in wood stove lengths, split them, stack them all in the day, stack them all, and go back and do the same thing the next day. He had gotten Parkinson's, had been diagnosed by one of our major hospitals in Seattle, and was now able to go out and carry one stick from the pile into the stove. That's all the more he could do. He had to sit back down. After we started correcting the causes of things that had gone wrong on him, I didn't say I'm treating Parkinson's, don't get this wrong. After I started correcting the causes of the things that had changed on him, he was able to go out, cut trees down, cut them into lengths, split them, stack them, just like before. We have a couple other people with cancer issues I should tell you about. One fellow had a brain tumor in his brain tumor. They took it out, but afterwards couldn't get around very well with a walker, very weak. And as we checked him out, we realized that he couldn't lift one of his legs up in the air. And if he was face down, he couldn't lift it up either. And if it fell off the exam table, he couldn't get it back up. And after his first treatment, strength fully returned to both of these, you see. We had another gentleman, he had a stroke on a Friday. It was a moderate stroke. It wasn't the very worst and it wasn't a mild one, moderate. And that happened on a Friday. He came to see me on a Sunday. This was important to see him right away as soon as we could. And we started correcting the causes, the things that had happened since that stroke and with that stroke. Later on Sunday night, he went out to dinner with some friends and they couldn't tell that he had had a stroke. It was changed that fast. Skin conditions, my goodness. We had a gentleman come up from Tulsa, Oklahoma. He is in his 80s. He had this scaly, crusty, itchy, burning stuff all over his arms and legs. And if he scratched it, touched anywhere else, it would spread there. It was just a mess. They had to put gloves on him. And he hurt and burned and itched all the time. We started correcting the cause of this situation. By the time he went back 2 days later, he let us know no burning, no itching, skin starting to clean up. We had another person with hip pain. Now this is someone, a young lady, been going to chiropractor forever, and she had a pain in her right sacroiliac, I believe it was. And we started correcting the cause of this problem. Now, she could literally not go 2 days without pain. She either had to go back to the chiropractor again and again or suffer. And we started correcting the cause of that. And her hip pain just gone. Just amazing. We've had people that couldn't swallow. I mean, I can think of a number of these. They literally couldn't swallow, or they couldn't keep food down, or if they ate it, they would get sick. And again, correct the cause of these problems, gone. We've had people who are lightheaded. If they move fast, just the room spins, gone. Just amazing. We had a lady from, just 100 miles away or so, but she had chemical sensitivities so bad, and just horrible chemical sensitivities. And so if she was around any perfume or a candle or a new construction site or anything, she would just get sick and her head would swell up and she couldn't breathe. After we saw her, she went back and tested it out. She went right into a job site that 2 days earlier would have put her on her back, and no chemical sensitivities at all. We expect this type of story on every single person that comes here. And with very few exceptions, that's what we get. Everybody gets turned around. Do we cure anything? No. Do we correct the cause of things? Absolutely. And by the way, many of these people have quite a few causes, and we have to find them all. But that's what we do. That's what I've become expert at, and it's really exciting. Now, if you haven't yet done so, either call or better yet, just get on the screen here and click to schedule yourself a 15, 20-minute phone consultation. I'll get on the phone with you. I want to hear what's happening with you, what other doctors have told you. Find out if I think we can help you. If you're in trouble, don't let it go on. You know, we have a young lady with multiple sclerosis that comes here, and she's had this coming on for 15, 20 years, and her legs are pretty much gone. She can go along with a walker, but her legs are not going to come back. Her right arm still works pretty well. Her left arm, she was able to move it some like this. So after the second visit, she was able to stick it right up in the air like that. Now, had we gotten to her way sooner, the same thing would have happened with her legs. You just have to correct the cause of these problems. So if you or a loved one have problems like this, don't leave it go. Don't let it just go on and on like that, getting worse and worse. What's the sense in that? Give us a call. Let's talk about it and see if we can help you. So go ahead and click the button on the screen or call and schedule a phone consultation, and we'll let you know if we can help you. If we think we can help you, get yourself out here fast. If we don't think we can help you, we'll tell you so. Is that fair enough? Well, okay. Looking forward to talking to you soon and then seeing you soon.